That might be a good point to transition to our next match, which is we're going to be starting straight away on Splat Zone's Manta Maria with Hayley's Comets versus Riptide. Now, this is going to be an interesting scrim.
Well, Manta Maria, which always seems to crop up in the RNG generator. Nico still sticking with Trusty Blaster. The Pallet going for the Heavy Splatling as well. We do see a Heavy Splatling come out on Riptide's side as well.
Good.
Very both teams have armor, I do notice.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. So both teams are running an armor, both have a Heavy Splatling, and both have a close range roller or brush in this case. So it's going to be a case of, I feel like this is going to be a case of skill. No one team is going to out-turf or out-pressure the other team, I feel. So it's just going to be a case of who gets the kills first. And it's going to be Ace.
There we go. There's Riptide get the big two kills first, taking out both the Junior and the Blaster. And this will allow them to be able to wrestle some control out of the middle and push the Comets back.
Yeah, unfortunately, three players now going down for Hayley's Comets. So they're going to lose all that pressure that they'd started to build. Konjan, you see, is inside this street or elbow, whatever you want to call that. He has a baller activated with Crack on Roller. He sees that there's one person there. Nico is smart enough not to drop down. Very good play. Still in the bunker. Nico just needs to play this smart and see if he can spot the roller. Probably could have gone for a kill there. Just seeing the roller swing off the right side. Splashdown coming down, and it's going to kill him. No, he's going to get the reverse splashdown. Very nice. A little bit fortunate. It's going to get taken out very quickly by the Splatland.
Was quite fortunate because that he was outside the lethal range, because splashdowning to counter a splashdown does not work.
It doesn't?
If he had actually been a little closer, he would have died outright, and I feel that Nico perhaps maybe is playing the more reactionary game based on that and some other things rather than the proactive game. So
yeah, it feels perhaps like he's waiting for people to do something. You do sort of want to be a little bit proactive, but part of that too, I have to say, is there's definitely a bit of turf in his disadvantage. Without any turf, the Blaster is not going to be able to do too much, and even put down its own turf. So he's going to be fairly reliant. Rose doing a good job getting up onto these greats with the brush. Nice play. At the moment, there is one player down for both sides. It's just a stalemate game. Rose actually backing up even though she had armor. Strange decision. I probably would have tried to walk over the bunker, perhaps. Getting one player, though. 3 players going down now for Riptide, and that should be a zone cap in their favor, activating Inkjets. He's one player alive. He's quite weak, and hopefully the teammate is able to clean that up.
Nice. The rest of the team will be able to take that, and the Jack just running out in time. I also do notice that Rose is running Drop Roller, since I saw her roll after that Inkjet landing.
Okay. Perhaps an interesting choice just to make those super jumps a bit safer while maintaining the same speed. Riptide's going to be 2 players down. It's still a 3v2 advantage in favor of Hayley's Comets. The splashdown is nice, but the Stingray's been activated on that player in the bunker. It's going to be put under some pressure, and Ace going for a back through sneak. Pallet is now doing some really good work. I'm actually surprised. Pallet has chosen to go for a very grounded approach to just control the right-hand plat and just keep paint over both zones and over that side of turf. It's only 2 points to go before they take the lead. They really want to cap both zones, and they are going to take the lead against Riptide. Not losing any players and actually able to take out an NZAP in exchange. So they really don't want to give up the zones at this point. Doing a good job to keep the zones. Pallet, I'm not really sure what Pallet was doing. They're just sort of circling around back and forth. And Pallet is able to pick off a nice kill though, and is able to put down some more ink back onto the zone and apply some more pressure. I'd say at this point, Riptide's pushes in feel very one-dimensional. They're consistently pushing through that choke point next to where the bunker is, and they really need to apply some more pressure on Pallet. She's gone from more defensive approach. She is absolutely unstoppable at this point. Gets another kill, activates the stinger, and spots another person. Very nice.
Nice. Pallet I have been spying some of these games before, and I have noticed that Pallet has been playing very patiently and very defensively, especially when using the ranged weapons. And I think that's part of why you saw that circling movement as well. Making the most out of the heavy splatling, not very mobile, but having the range to suppress, and that works quite nicely with this defensive style. Unfortunately, they're finally getting taken down by Ace, possibly realizing that Pallet has been sitting there for the better part of a minute or two and suppressing them, and being able to get in taking them out. And that has afforded them the opportunity to get complete control of the center to suppress the Comets. So very nicely spotted. And unfortunately, Calamar Cat's heavy splatling not quite as safe as Pallet, going in very aggressively in that positioning.
And Nico is able to get the kill using Splashdown. Pallet comes from behind, cleans up the roll that was going after Nico, and that's game closed out for Hayley's Comets. Fantastic response there. And what looked like it was going to be a complete lockout from Riptide at the start of the match.
Oh yeah, like Riptide definitely had a very nice control of the center after getting those early 2 picks. And it did feel like the Comets were struggling to get back in. But yeah, they was a little bit of a surprise there once they finally took out the pallet wall, if I will. Who's just been playing very nicely and very defensively, being able to lock them out with the heavy splatling.
Look, a penchant for ranged weapons. I find that in splat zones, if there's ever a time you're going to play a more defensive play style, this is the mode to do it in. And Pallet did, I have to give her credit. Initially, I was thinking perhaps Pallet should have, once they got 2 or 3 kills, moved up to those greats and really exerted a force, but she was quite content with controlling that right plat, and no one really challenged her successfully, except for that last push just 30 seconds before the end of the game. But Riptide, unfortunately, I felt like they were positioned very well, but they didn't actually take out players as they were going past. We saw that Nico was able to get past and get a really key kill on the Splatling and actually draw the roller out of position on that bunker. And once that happened, Pallet was able then to take out the roller from behind and establish control. So perhaps a bit lucky with the flank, but I do have to say part of that was Nico's successful flank on the Splatling. So good job working together as a team, coordinating Hayley's on getting back in.
Go Comets! I'm back, by the way.
Welcome back, Otter. Are you subbing out now?
Yes, I'm subbing out, actually. We had quite a few players available today, so...
All right. Feeling confident to sub some players? No. All right, well, I'll let you and Toad take it for a little bit.
On the reef, and Pallet sticking with the heavy splatling. We do see the Julies and the 52 come out on the side of Riptide, and unfortunately they now no longer have any armor to fight off against the Junior. So definitely feeling like the composition here for the Comets is definitely more well-rounded. Okay, so we do see Kyoma here with the 52 trying to push in. He does react to the enemy baller, and does look like they're going to do baller wars there. And very well timed indeed from Kyoma, timing their ball to detonate just after the other one detonates, ignoring the invul frames and taking him out. An excellently coordinated push as well, as there was Nico there on the side taking out the other player, allowing the baller to get in. Definitely a lot more coordination here from the Comets this time around. Sticking together, buddying up, and making sure they're exerting this control very nicely. And does look like Rose here is... I kind of forgot that they were hiding in the corner there, but that's fair enough. The baller is deployed as well, obviously detonating to neutralize the zone, and that is 2 down as well. So does look like here that Riptide will be able to wrestle back the center a bit. They have no idea what that roller there on the side of Riptide was doing, getting way too greedy. But made up for by Hero, who's just... Oh, no, he can't.
Oh.
There was
nice
a
defensive
good
work
play.
by Pallet there.
Almost took it actually. If it wasn't for that jump to try and throw off the 52's aim, probably would have died. But was able to successfully push off the base invade there. Do see 3 specials now up on the side of the Comets. 1 does go, 2, sorry, now go down. It does look like Riptide will have complete control now of the center with basically a pseudo wipe. So, oh man, I wasn't even aware of the time, and that's game.
Oh my
Okay.
god, it is. Well, good job to both teams.
Yeah. The Comets, they're looking like they had some really nice coordination after a little bit of a rocky start, but kind of throwing the game, if you will, and not being able to maintain that control more often. And of course, naturally, completely losing control with the pseudo wipe as well. So,
Yeah, I'm just going to take a moment to address something that was mentioned earlier in the Twitch chat. If we're giving comments on people's compositions, I understand that we do understand that it's a scrim and that people are experimenting with different things. But at the same time, if people are going to experiment with things, it's really good to have the insight to know why that may or may not work. And if it is going to work, how is it going to work? So it's not necessarily saying it can't work. It's just pointing out that, if you run 4 charges, you won't be able to turf. It's not saying you can't win games, but
there are always inherent pros and cons to certain weapons, and naturally certain weapons fulfilling certain needs of the team better or worse than others, depending on what you're trying to do.
Yeah, and I really do have to point back. You saw a significant shift in part-time pirates once they shifted one of those 2 long-range shooters to having another short-range or mid-range weapon with turfing capability. You saw a definite shift in their ability to control the mid-zone, and it's that kind of feedback which is really important for teams.
Yeah, we definitely had that problem earlier on the tower control and main stage, where we just couldn't really take back the turf because Sloshing Machine, Spider Pro.
Okay, so we do see the Rapid Blaster come out on the side of Hero. Deciding to ditch the 52 instead, but no real change to the comp here for the Comets. Probably starting to feel quite comfortable with the way things are working with their team right now. And a nice trade there on Ace. That is 2 down. 2 down by the sides of Riptide as well. So this will be the big push that Comets will be able to make now. There are 3 specials. The Stingray is deployed. I'm not sure if that armor on the Junior was able to get off before they died. It doesn't look like it. And, Pallet managing to get a surprising kill. And a little bit of weird geometry there going on with the tower collision. But
yeah, unfortunately, getting 3 players down, but not able to get back on the tower in time to really push that advantage past the first checkpoint. Conja is going to get onto the tower and take out one person. Yeah, unfortunately, that's going to be the end of the push there. I'm seeing some repeats of not.
I was about to say, I don't agree with Pallet sticking there for so long, especially being on the tower. Like, you saw how Pallet knew the roller was coming along that side, like even aiming in that direction, anticipating them to come, but still stayed on the tower, despite being the heavy splatling on the riding. I don't think that was a very good positioning. Should have backed up.
Yeah. And it's just one of those situations where, look, you can trust your skills, but at the end of the day, you're probably going to lose that fight with a roller right behind a wall. The Splatling specialty is not enemies camping behind walls right next to you. Riptide is now going to continue a good push past the first checkpoint, pushing to 69 with 2 more players going down for Hayley's Comets. Feeding just a little bit too quickly here, Hayley's Comets need to play a little bit more patiently and get rid of that person who's inside their base.
That's also 3, and unfortunately Nico has gotten a little bit too aggressive without any control. Ace does take him down, but and of course Ace gets punished, but again, the Riptide has just dominant control, and Pallet again sort of repeating the mistake that Nico just made, getting
in a little too deep there without control.
Yeah, too deep without the control to back it up.
It's sacrificing a height advantage by going into the pit and sacrificing a turf advantage in favor of possibly getting a kill on someone who's in a better position than you. It's not smart. You need to stay on your high ground and keep your advantage until it's safe to move down.
It was very unexpected considering a Pallet's very excellent defensive play in the past. A very unusual decision. For the time being, that is actually 3 down on Riptide though, so this will be a big opportunity for the Comets to be able to move in and hopefully get past this first checkpoint. We do see the Inkjet here as well being deployed. Unfortunately, does that. He's 2 down on the Comets as well. And that probably will be the end of the push.
No, it's not
now.
going to be, because that was 2 players going down for Riptide, and they're still pushing the tower past 60 points. Kemba doing some fantastic work, not only staying alive from
the armor,
but getting a bubble, and the armor has come up and it's down to 60 points. They're close to that second checkpoint. They just need to get another 2 or 3 kills, but they're going to be 3 players down at this point.
Yeah. Kyoma there, unfortunately pincered by both blasters. Probably not sensing the Luna behind the Luna behind them. And we're now back to neutral state here. There is 2 down on Riptide, but there is the Bowler on, and there's 2 down apiece as well, so she's probably just going to end up cancelling out. Nice Bowler play here to put the pressure on the Splatling, forcing them way out of position. That was definitely very nicely done, despite being taken out by the chicken.
Yeah. Nico unfortunately getting taken out by a nice direct and then indirect there from Hero, making good use of the Rapid Blaster's extra range, applying pressure to the Splatling. The Bowler is going to be on the tower. They're not going to get any extra points, provided that Hayley's Comets can get them off this tower before it continues to push. They're not going to be able to, even though there's 4 players alive for both teams. And a bomb rush coming off now from Riptide.
Oh, didn't see the chicken there as well. Unfortunately detonating with just the right timing. And that's 3 down on the sides against the Pirates, not
Riptide?
That's Riptide.
Yeah, getting the name.
Fantastic kill there on the Luna by Kim. A really good use of Splat Bomb and effective spacing with the extra range. So putting in some work, getting some turf control down on this mid position. It's 1 player down for both teams. Kemba is just playing a patient sharking game. Sees that the Rapid is on the other side of the bridge. There's 1 player, possibly the roller down in this bottom left-hand side. No, it looks like it's Ace. And Pallet, again, is Pallet riding the tower really the smartest decision going past that locker wall? I really would have liked to have seen Rose or Nico even riding the tower.
Oh, somebody managed to take the tower in the end.
It was very much the same mistake there by Pallet, being the tower rider, coming up against that wall section where the heavy Splatling is just at a massive disadvantage by anything hiding behind that wall cover there.
Yeah.
And I also get the sense that Riptide were making I guess sort of like the suicide push in that last big push that they made to buy themselves more time and force the Comets to have to cover more distance.
Look, I just want to I just want to quickly say too, I do think it was not the wisest of decisions for Riptide to pseudo wipe in favor of getting like 10 or 15 extra points. They made the decision, they were able to close out the game. For Pallet riding the tower, it's not just the locker that's an issue. Even though you might think that you can take out people as they come through drop through that left-hand side and effectively battle players on the bridge, as soon as that tower gets to the second checkpoint and there's walls on either side of you, you're never going to be able to take anyone out coming down on you, especially not blasters or shooters. That's one position where Nico would be in the strongest position to ride the tower and just put suppressing blasts up through the grates.
Exactly. And as well as over the wall as well, coming over that intersection. The blast damage, just harassing anyone as well. So definitely a case of just a bad tower rider choice.
Well, an interesting thing that she does is I found that she's using Thermal Ink in these matches. So she's probably trying to use that to get a view behind the lockers, but you're right about the little alleyway that they're going through. That just isn't the proper choice for the tower.
I mean, the view is nice, but if you can't do anything off it, then it's just, oh, I see that they're there. I still can't do anything.
That's true. Or at least get them while they're coming up. Anyway, it's tower Ink.
Yes, tower control again, but this time on Ink Blot. There is 1 down apiece on both teams. No real change to either team's composition as well, although I do spy Carbon Roller, which
Carbon Roller and Riptide.
I have no idea. I mean, Carbon is considered by a lot definitely by far the absolute weakest of the rollers, absolute struggle roller, but we will see if Riptide will be able to actually make it work here, as we see basically a neutral 50-50 control here in the center. And no one really touching the tower, or being able to make any big plays out of anything for the time being.
Yeah, we're seeing some specials going down, but no pushes yet. Everybody's just a little too worried they're going to get wiped in the ensuing fight.
to be fair, that is I think I sick and died.
2-1-2.
And I was about to say that was 2 down on both sides there, so it's understandable that neither team really wanted to make the push.
There's Pilot putting some really good pressure down on Ace and whoever was to get them down there. And
That
bait it
is
out.
3 down on Riptide though, so this is the big chance for the Comets to be able to make a push there. We do see
Yes.
Rose there also get the nice
2-1.
pick off there with the brush. And and again, that's still another 2 down on Riptide, so they will be able to continue to push. There is the Inkjet to play. That looked like a direct that didn't count. That was weird. Nonetheless,
definitely indirect.
but that push is unfortunately very dead with a pseudo wipe on the Comets. Being able to make a reasonable good push with the tower, but again, similar to this problem that we've been seeing from the Comets before, they were right in making the correct push at that time, but not having the rest of the team move forward past the tower to grab control of that plat. And again, I mean, Riptide have done exactly the same mistake here, where they've all bundled up around the tower rather than trying to get onto the enemy's plat, and they're not going to be able to move past that 68 points.
I reckon Pilot needs to really stay behind and just keep that nice safe little bastion and keep the enemy team worried all the time.
It's more baffling because Tower Control does have that little extra platform, the little bit raised block that allows you to make the flanks on the plat, but no one is really using this. Nico wisely backing off after seeing the baller, but being punished by the Rapid. Yes, by the Rapid.
That was the Luna, I think.
It just looked like it had range, because Luna doesn't have range, right?
Yeah, Luna doesn't have much. But when here comes the Tempter missiles.
So Calamar trying to do flank, but of course realizing that there was someone on the block, so choosing to wisely just back away. That is 3 down on the Comets as well, so Riptide will be able to make a push, and almost as if hearing my advice, we do see Hero take that flank onto the plat along with the baller, pushing in onto the Comets plat, allowing the tower to be able to get past that 65 points and getting very nice push here indeed, all the way up to the second checkpoint, and another pseudo wipe. That is more like it.
Ooh.
And as we can see here,
Oh my
like,
gosh,
Riptide has just... It's covered, right? Like,
Yeah, it's just covered in the Riptide's color, blimey. I thought this was their base.
Like that single flank has been able to afford so much control on Riptide. That's another 3 down. This is probably done at this point. Unless they're able to really stop this, they're probably no. It's over.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit too much control on Riptide's side. So, wow, that was an amazing last push there.
It all came down to that one big flank by Hero taking that plat, taking the extra little block there to get onto that plat, harass people there with the control, and the baller following up to keep people back. And
Absolutely.
then it snowballed from there. That was excellent. That's how you push a tower on Ink Block.
It's a good point you make. My apologies. I had to refresh my router.
That's all right.
It was interesting watching that last push. It's almost as if Riptide were listening into this call. Perhaps they've got a spy watching the stream, because instantly, as soon as you said that, I saw Hero go for a flank together with one other player. And look, it's a strange thing to run a Rapid Blaster and a Lunar Blaster, but once there's a Lunar Blaster ahead of a Rapid getting one shot, it's deadly. And we just saw that those two together were just slaying people coming out of spawn. That's a situation where you can't afford to be even feeding slightly. You have to be really careful and just use your bombs and subs wisely to try and force them out of that position. But yeah, too much turf control in favor of Riptide. As soon as they did that flank, as soon as they went up that box.
Yep.
Hey, wait a second. Regarding spies, have we got a commentator named... Oh shoot, I lost the name. Great job on my joke.
I don't know what was funnier, the attempted joke or the fail thereof.
Bye.
Have we got a commentator named Pedro McLaughlin? Because there's one here. Okay, we better kick him out. Beep. Okay, good. Looks like Riptide's spying on us no longer, folks. So we're on our last 2 games. It's Rainmaker on Mori Towers now. One of
very
the-
interesting choice. Nico has decided to ditch the blaster and go for the splatter shot. And there's also a tri-slosher
Oh,
as
Nico
well.
almost fell. Sorry. I was waiting for the 2-duster. He just made that.
That was very close indeed.
fell
But
earlier.
Riptide opting to go with the Broly as well, along with a standard splatter scope.
It's not
very
paying off because that's
interesting
3 players going down very quickly. Rose is using the Rush's full power. The sniper is going to sit. There's
Nice.
one person coming in, is going to take out the one jumper. 2 players now going down for Hayley's Comets.
Ooh, I have to admit that was almost a bad positioning there on Rose. If she was like a few centimeters forward, probably would have got penetrator shotted. Since charges do have penetration power at full power, and you can get multiple kills. So,
Do you want to just call out your times for me, guys?
4-11,
4-7.
9.
You're a bit behind, Otto.
Don't you love that when you try to pause and it refreshes?
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm not gonna try to pause this time. Alright, well, now in Mori Towers, what we usually say is it's all about the checkpoints. Riptide really fighting hard to take on that, what's the number, about 44 sort of checkpoint on the really high snipe on the right side.
Yeah, the 46, that's 48, 46 on the grades, on going up towards Overlook.
Well, thankfully, the Comets
is
took
big
it back.
number. The other number is around 60, 68 or so, 66, getting onto just the snipe.
Yeah, that's about
both of
60.
those.
Looks
Oh,
like
no,
that's
70 actually. 70 actually get on the snipe.
Nice.
As I just saw that there.
I think that's if you take that ink rail there, they just took.
Yeah, they either took it up the ink rail or they got. Looks like they took it up the wall. But those are the 2 big number sets that you're looking for here. They've Riptide making the first play here, getting up to the. Am I getting? No, I'm getting the team factor. Sorry. Hayley's Comets. Sorry, making the first play to the 69-point marker. This will more or less force Riptide to make the Overlook push, which could maybe what Hayley's Comets wants to do, and they'll read that in turn.
If Hayley's Comets has the Octobrush alive on that plat, that's fine. Oh, they're not able to drop down onto the grate in time. Oh, no!
Oh! Maybe they didn't realise that you just had to stand on the grate.
I don't. No. All of these guys have played Splat 1. They should know that. I feel like they tried to drop down. I feel like they tried to drop down after they'd already tried to go for the full 44 points. I think you get if you get up onto Overlook. And no, not the safest decision. Pallet is getting flanked, unfortunately, falling into the abyss. Unfortunately, a failed flank trying to get up onto the wall. So Pallet is going to remain safe. Getting pressured a little bit by Kalamar. Going to try and drop a splat bomb down and is going to 2-DOS herself down into the drink.
Oh dear.
Into the abyss. Look, this is a very strange game that both teams are playing. Rose is not doing the smartest of things in chasing after the Rainmaker. It'd be better if she was camping up at Overlook, since she can stop any push coming up there. There isn't anything anyone's going to do if she's camping up at Overlook.
Right. It's too bad she doesn't have the beacons she loves so much right now.
Yeah, look,
So I did briefly see the sniper getting flanked there, but it does look like that they weren't able to do anything off that. Back into the neutral game, despite the fact the Stingray is being deployed here. Probably not the best setup position as well, but I mean...
Yeah, Stingray taken out fairly quickly, honestly, in that kind of position with no players around to support. Two players going down. That's now 2...
Will they make it? Yes, they made it!
But they actually do get it up on top to 47. Unfortunately, because they went along the barrier there, they actually weren't getting any points rather than moving forward. So it is still possible for Riptide to be able to do the same and score a little bit more for the same kind of effort. Nonetheless, the ball is in Riptide's court now, and they do have to try and make a big play.
Yeah, Condown going for a very strange push into Sneaky in spite of the fact that there was already someone standing on there. Not really the safest of decisions. Camo are able to very effectively take them out. Playing a very smart sort of 52 game, just making sure that there's turf down on this side, putting lots of point sensors out, trying to keep an eye on where people are. This is very good. I just want to point out that we're sort of seeing the main problem you're going to have running a Broly on your team is that it's like a Dynamo with less range and less killing power compared to Spike 1.
Yeah.
You're going to have lots of turf coverage, but you are not going to be able to take people out unless they make a silly decision in your ink. And as
Oh, the
Hayley's
timer.
Comets backs it up, that's going to be a
gone.
very
It's
easy
gone.
win.
Oh, there we go. Off into the sunset.
As the great John Tron once said, I'm going. I'm going.
Crikey, I didn't even realize that the timer was at just like 10 seconds left.
No, I mean, that's also part of the reason why I question the push down that Sneaky with so little time left. That was so easily defended by the Comets, and they had the control. They could defend it so easily, and just to make sure, they grabbed the fish and they bolted off into the sunset. Like, that was a very questionable push in that direction.
Yeah.
As you said before, someone was already there, and even then, not a good place to die.
Yeah. I suppose there's a couple of specific things we can say. For Rose, there were a couple times where I thought Riptide might have gotten a counter push because she jumped off Overlook instead of just patiently waiting up there. If ever there was one person who could afford to just stand back and let her teammates like 3v4 in the mid because the enemy had a Broly anyway, it would have been very easy for Rose just stick around that sort of Overlook area and just even climb back up and down the wall if she really wanted to. Just to keep the win really secure. But other than that, there was also running a Broly on your team, as I said, is like having a Dynamo with less range and less killing power, and you aren't going to take people out unless they're in your ink or making silly decisions. So you need to be prepared to have your other three teammates. They have to know that they're going to have to be the ones to get the kills pushing forward.
And now the only real reason to be using it, I mean, that's for the cover, and I didn't really see much presence of the cover in that game.
No, honestly, it
even
felt like
one,
Hayley's
really.
Comets did just fine controlling mid zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the Sprinkler and you got the Ink Storm for just really exercising control, but it didn't really work out. Oh well, nonetheless, we will finish off with Rainmaker on Sturgeon Shipyard.
Oh boy.
And
All
there is
right,
the NZ
so
coming
we're
out
opening
here.
up. We're going to be opening up. It's a stun sides between three commentators, and both teams going for slightly different team compositions. Only a
Rose is running with the brush.
only slight change here coming from Riptide. My apologies. Looking at the opposite teams, the Stingray coming out very early on there. I think from Pallet, not able to actually get anyone. Trying to apply some pressure. Kalamar doing a good job using burst bombs to just support her teammates. The Rainmaker is going to go down. Konjan's going to get a good splashdown kill. That's going to create a 2v4 advantage.
Very nice.
In favor of Riptide, and is now going to push up onto this spinner, almost falling down, but it's going to spot Pallet. Pallet's in trouble. Yep. Okay, this is the start of a good push. Where's the push? Push it! Someone pick it up! Someone pick it up!
Oh no. No, it's the other way.
Nico going down there as well. The ball is detonating, I think, a little too prematurely. And Kalamar taking that nice block, getting up onto the grates there. But unfortunately, the rest of the team just not moving in for the control.
Look, why did Kalamar go for that push instead of going through the far right push? There were no people on that right-hand side except for the Charger, so it might have actually been an opportunity to get, like, maybe, I don't know, 60 or even 50 points on the board.
She definitely
But as you
could
say,
have.
yeah.
But, you know, in the least, she definitely won a few style points for that, even though it wasn't a huge push.
And like, just as I say that, Pallet pulls a big fakie, almost goes over the wall, but decides to go straight for the sponge, not able to get past the one player alive. Almost pulling off the fakie on Riptide there, but Rose is going to get another kill and clean up. It's a 2v2 even situation at the moment, and Rose does the smart thing and backs up, favouring turf control over going for points pushes.
I mean, that's the other thing as well, just being able to stay back, acting as a safe beacon for people to get back into the mid if they aren't there, and perhaps also giving the other team a false sense of security that they are able to move up despite the control advantage.
Yeah, look, you've got these big height advantages, these boxes and the hill in mid, and also the spinner and the box behind. Why not use them as an Octobrush? You've got turf control, you've got the lead, you've got a fairly decent lead on top of that. Rose does decide to push you now and secures the kill in only the way an Octobrush can without any semblance of aim whatsoever. She has him ready to go straight back in.
Oh, dude! Gosh!
So, lovely weather we're having today.
Rose is going to
Yeah,
activate
upper
Inkjet in good
range,
support of her
right.
teammates. This is Hayley's Comets in a really confident position. Nico is going to try and pop the Rainmaker and get back up onto those crates to start another push.
The control is so good, and I'm not seeing any flanks coming out from Riptide on their right side of the map.
Well, I mean, Riptide kind of can't flank. Like, they have no... You can't flank if you've got no control. Like...
That's true. I'm talking about that little high bit on the right side where you can push the Rainmaker. I wonder if we'll be seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Otter. It would have been nice to see at least one player, you know, maybe the dualies or the NZAP activating armor and then going for a flank from behind, seeing if he could displace Pallet and the Octobrush from the mid zone, but that's not happening. And look at this, we've seen this 2 or 3 times where a player goes down and then just immediately jumps straight back into Pallet. She is the human beacon.
Yow!
That's 3 down as well against Riptide. Like, Pallet is playing the defense game very nicely now. That they have the lead, they have so much control. Why not just sit there and just harass the enemy team from being able to do anything? Hero unfortunately censored and probably going to get pincered from the side. Yep. That was
weird.
Calamar Cat just snowballing, but being face to face with the baller. Which also cleans up quite nicely, and Shelma will be able to take the Rainmaker.
Wow, that was a beautiful coordinated special.
Unfortunately, not realizing there was actually someone there on that side there, and shutting down that push attempt.
Say, wait a second, we were just talking about, hey, nobody's using that path. Where's Pedro?
And now everyone's using that path, like...
Pedro!
But Nico Store, sensing that everything is on the wrong side, deciding to go
Nice!
the other side and getting caught out by the double burst bombs there.
Unfortunately, doesn't push the Rainmaker.
Doesn't get any more points, but we are in the last 30 seconds now, and it does mean more distance that Riptide have to go. And that's a white! That's probably game at this point!
Yo!
Like, only 20 seconds left, and like... Yeah, I think that's done. Like, I don't think they're really going to be able to get in at this point.
There's some nice headshots we're getting, but they don't
Pallet's gone!
Oh my god!
Touchdown tries to go off, but it's not going to be enough with only the blaster and the shooter left. It's gone.
Nope. You're just...
If that splashdown had gone off because the baller explosion radius is so large, you took it out. But if it had gone off, it might have been able to blow up the shield.
Oh, they very well could have taken that overtime.
Look, those were good games, guys.
Good.
Really, really great scrim matches all together.